In this third Sunday of Advent, the church invites us to rejoice, to be glad and to be happy because Jesus Christ, the Son of God, is coming. So we have to rejoice. And in that context of rejoicing and being happy, we have to read the first reading. And actually, there is another term that the first reading used to be happy, but it doesn't use that term. It's to be to exalt, which is the same, to rejoice, to exalt. And the prophet Isaiah is talking to a people who is in exile, and is talking to a people who want to come back home. And to that people, he is asking them to exalt, because his coming, the coming of God, is going to change something on them. And the first sentence actually describes what is going to happen. The desert and the parched land will exalt. Why? Because a great transformation is going to happen on them. Instead of being a deserted place, now they are going to rejoice because flowers are going to be in that place. I was thinking how that prophecy should lead us in this Advent season, at least what we still have to walk, the journey that we have ahead before Christmas. It's a recognition, or should be a recognition, that in our own life there is something that needs to be transformed. There is something that is deserted, and that by the grace of God should receive flowers and should keep flowers. How is that possible? Because God is coming. I was thinking that if we are honest, there is always something in us that can be changed and that should be changed. And this Sunday maybe is a good and great opportunity to meditate about that. What is deserted that needs to be changed, that needs to welcome the flowers of the grace of God. I don't know about you, but in my own life, when I read this kind of readings from the Bible, gives me a great hope, because even if my weak, wounded human condition every single day is showing me how limited I am. At the same time, when I read this kind of text, I can see how that limitation, that human limitation, becomes a great opportunity when it is open to God's grace to do something wonderful. God works when the human beings recognize that limitation and are open to God's grace. Everything is going to change, and we can experience the power of God working on us even when we are weak and wounded. So this Advent season and this Sunday is a great opportunity to meditate about that. How when we are open to God's grace, He can come and change everything and do wonderful things through us. The second thing that I would like, and the last one actually, today is going to be very short. I think you are going to be very happy. Yeah? The second one and last one is how The reading is from Isaiah, as I was saying, the prophet Isaiah, chapter 35, from verse 1 to 6a, and after that it goes to verse 10. So we do not have 7, 8, and 9. In those verses we see, actually maybe I'm gonna read if I found it here. There is a beautiful sentence that, yes, it's here, that I think it is good to meditate about it, because it has the connection about the last part of today's first reading. Now I cannot see it. A highway shall be there, and a road, and it shall be called the highway of holiness. And after that, it goes to the last part of the reading, as I was saying. Those whom the Lord has ransomed will return and enter Zion singing. They will meet with joy and gladness. Sorrow and mourning will flee. So the returning to Zion is going to be through that highway that God has created. And I think it's a beautiful idea to meditate about that in this Advent season and in this Sunday. And because of our own sins, we get far away from God. We do not experience the joy to be close to Him, and we become a deserted place with no life, no hope, because God, the source of every single life and hope, is not in us. But the beautiful thing is that God Himself creates everything to attract us to Himself. He is the one who creates a highway to return to Him. That highway is Jesus Christ. Remember that in the Gospel according to St. John, Jesus Christ himself says that He is the way. So the highway to come back to God is Jesus Christ. And when we encounter Him, there is joy and happiness. So we return to our Father singing and with joy. And the prophet Isaiah is saying that joy, that we are going to meet joy and gladness. Sorrow and mourning will flee. When we encounter Jesus Christ, that highway, sorrow and mourning will not be there. It is only joy and happiness. That's why this Sunday is again called a Sunday to rejoice. It's an invitation to rejoice, because we are getting closer and closer to that great celebration of the Nativity in which we encounter Jesus Christ. So, in this third Sunday of Advent, we should also meditate about the way that God, our Father, has put there for us to return to Him, Jesus Christ, and to see how we are returning to God, meeting Jesus Christ in our lives. So let us pray today as we celebrate this Mass, that first we may be able to put our limitations, our own desert in God's hand, and allow Him, with His grace, to transform that desert into a garden. That's the first invitation. I think when we do that, everything is going to be different in our lives. And what could be or was in our sight impossible is going to be possible with God's grace. That's the first invitation. And the second one, this third Sunday is an invitation to meditate about how we have a highway to return to God our Father, Jesus Christ, on the cross, who gave His life for each one of us. So we have to meditate honestly how we are trying to go to Him, how we are trying to accept Him in our lives. And in doing so, Joy and gladness will be with us, and sorrow and mourning will flee. Please stand.